Hello, friends. I hope you and your families are doing good and that you all are liking this series of accounting standards. So, today we are going to start with a new Accounting Standard 27 Financial Reporting of Interest in Joint Venture. So, let us start it. First of all, we will look into the definition of joint venture. So, what is a joint venture? Joint venture is a contractual arrangement whereby two or more parties undertake an economic activity which is subject to joint control. So, in joint venture, two or more parties come together for an economic activity by making a contractual arrangement between them which is subject to their joint control. For knowledge purpose, we will also look into the objective part of this accounting standard. So, the objective is to set principle and procedure which should be applied for accounting for interest in joint venture and also reporting of joint ventures assets, liabilities, income and expense in the financial statement of venturers as well as investors. So, the objective behind this accounting standard is to give us all a set of proper principle and procedure which will be applied for accounting of interest in joint venture, also for its reporting of what all things, all the assets, liabilities, income and expense of both the financial statements of both venturers and investors. So, who are these venturers and investors? Let us look into that. A venturer is a party to a joint venture who has joint control over that joint venture, whereas an investor is a party to the joint venture who does not have joint control over the joint venture. So, when a party which is having joint control over venture will be regarded as venturer, and if he does not have any control, but just joins the joint venture to provide the financial assistance, then he will be regarded as an investor. Now let us look on to the next topic, that is the three forms of joint venture. The three forms of joint venture are: first one, jointly controlled operations; second one being jointly controlled assets; and lastly the third one is jointly controlled entities. We will now look at each of these cases one by one. So, what are jointly controlled operations? One of the best examples that I can give for jointly controlled operation is, let us say iPhone has come up with a new offer which is you will get iPhone plus the Airtel network to enjoy the most best features of. So this is a example. This is an example of jointly controlled operation. Move on to jointly controlled assets. The best example which I can give to you, like of ATMs or the mobile towers. So now, instead of building separate ATMs for each of the bank, you can use debit cards of one bank to at the ATM centers of another bank. Similarly, one or more network providers, that is the Airtel or Idea, have common mobile towers. So this is an example of jointly controlled assets. In both of these categories or forms of joint venture, that is jointly controlled operations and jointly controlled assets, no new entity is formed. But in case of jointly controlled entity, a new entity is formed. Let us move on to the next point, which is the consolidated financial statement of a venturer. Proportionate consolidation is a method of accounting and reporting whereby a venturer share of each of the assets, liabilities, income, and expense of jointly controlled entity is reported as a separate line item in the venturer's financial statement. So, as we can see, the proportional consolidation is a method by which accounting and reporting of joint venture is done, and this such type of consolidation is required only in case of jointly controlled entities, that is the third form of the joint venture, because in the earlier two cases there is no new entity is being formed, and hence consolidation of financial statement is not needed in such type of entities. Just in case of jointly controlled entities, we had to prepare a proportionate consolidation whereby only the venturer's share of each of the asset, liability, income and expense are mentioned or reported as a separate line item. Proportionate consolidation method of accounting is to be followed except in following cases, and there are two exceptions to it in which proportionate consolidation method will not be followed. The first one being the investment is intended to be temporary because the investment is acquired and held exclusively with a view to its subsequent disposal in near future. When the investment is held for temporary time only and it is being held with the intention of subsequent disposal in new future, then proportionate consolidation of method for as a method of accounting won't be followed. And the next example is the joint venture operates under severe long term restrictions which significantly impair its ability to transfer funds to the venturer. And in any case, even though it's on long term restrictions, it is not of temporary nature but a long term one, but the it contains severe long term restrictions, and there is not and there is an inability to transfer funds to the venturer, then the venturer need not prepare proportionate consolidation for the same. Also, we have to keep in mind that in case of transactions in a jointly controlled entity, the earlier requirement should be applied only in preparation and presentation of the consolidated financial statements and not in the preparation and presentation of separate financial statements. So, only in case of CFS, that is a consolidated financial statement, we have to apply this consolidated financial or the proportionate consolidation method. The rest, that is a separate financial statement, will not be affected by this. So hence, by this we have completed the concept part of accounting standard 27. Now we will look on the practice manual questions of this. Just one important concept is of discontinuation of proportionate consolidation. A venturer should discontinue to apply proportionate consolidation from the date it ceases to have control or the joint entity is suffering from severe restrictions which significantly affects its ability to transfer funds to the joint venture. This was the point to summarize it. And when it discontinues proportionate consolidation, its interest should be accounted as per AS 21 if it becomes a parent enterprise that is having unilateral control. In other cases, that is as per AS 13 or AS 23 if it becomes associate. For this purpose, cost of investment should be the share in net assets on the date of discontinuation and after adjusting carrying amount of goodwill or capital reserve. The concept of different reporting dates and uniform accounting policies will be same as we have already discussed in accounting standard 21 and 23. The disclosure requirements for this is the contingent liability regarding capital commitments and list of all joint ventures and description of interest. Now as you can see on your screens, it is the applicability graph which shows that if the joint venture, if it holds more than 50%, if it's yes, then we have to follow accounting standard 21. If the holding is less than 50%, whether it is preparing consolidated financial statement, if it is preparing, then it has to follow accounting standard 27, or else if it is not preparing the consolidated financial statement, then it has to follow AS 13. That is it will regard this joint venture as a investment. Now you can see the accounting standard applicability depending upon the investment, which accounting standard will be applicable. If it is an investment in joint venture, then AS 13 will be applicable. If the holding company and investment in subsidiary, if this is the case, then accounting standard 21 will be applicable. If holding company and investment in associate, then AS 21 as well as AS 23 will be applicable. If holding company and investment in joint venture, then AS 21 and 27 will be applicable. If it's the case of holding company having investment in associate as well as in joint venture, then all the three accounting standards, major accounting standards, that is AS 21, AS 23 and AS 27, all these three will be applicable. Now we will move on to the practice manual questions. तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 27 के साथ. प्रैक्टिस में 27 अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड के ऊपर सिर्फ एक ही थियोरेटिकल क्वेश्चन है, वो हम अब कवर करने वाले हैं। इसमें प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस आरटीपी और पास्ट एग्जाम क्वेश्चंस में है, वो हम उनके साथ ही कवर करने वाले हैं। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स ऑफ जॉइंट वेंचर? एलुसिडेट द प्रेजेंटेशन एंड डिस्क्लोजर नॉर्म्स ऑफ जॉइंट वेंचर एज पर अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 27। Joint venture takes many different forms and structures. This standard identifies three broad types. ठीक है, तो इसके तीन ब्रॉड टाइप्स हैं। सबसे पहला है कंट्रोल्ड जॉइंटली कंट्रोल्ड ऑपरेशन, दूसरा है जॉइंटली कंट्रोल्ड एसेट्स, तीसरा है जॉइंटली कंट्रोल्ड एंटिटीज, which are commonly described as and meet with the definition of joint ventures. तो तीन चीजें हैं। सबसे पहला है जॉइंटली कंट्रोल्ड ऑपरेशन, फिर है जॉइंटली कंट्रोल्ड एसेट और तीसरा है जॉइंटली कंट्रोल्ड एंटिटीज। द फॉलोइंग कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स आर कॉमन टू ऑल जॉइंट वेंचर्स। लेकिन तीनों कैटेगरी में ये जो दो फीचर्स हैं वो हमेशा रहेंगे ही रहेंगे। क्या है दो वो फीचर्स? सबसे पहला है कि टू और मोर वेंचरर्स आर बाउंड बाय अ कॉन्ट्रेक्चुअल अरेंजमेंट। एक उनके बीच में कॉन्ट्रेक्चुअल अरेंजमेंट होता है जिसके तहत वो बाउंड होते हैं, मतलब उनको फॉलो करना ही करना है। एंड दूसरी कंडीशन है दैट द कॉन्ट्रेक्चुअल अरेंजमेंट एस्टेब्लिशेस जॉइंट कंट्रोल, और उस कॉन्ट्रेक्चुअल अरेंजमेंट की वजह से ही उनको जॉइंट कंट्रोल एक्सरसाइज करने का मौका मिल रहा है। A venturer should disclose the aggregate amount of the following contingent liabilities unless the probability of loss is remote, separately from the amount of other contingent liabilities. तो other contingent liabilities के बारे में उनको aggregate amount लिखनी होगी, लेकिन अगर probability बहुत ही कम है, रिमोट है, तो फिर लिखने की जरूरत, वैसे separately बताने की जरूरत नहीं है। Any contingent liability that the venturer has incurred in relation to the interest in joint ventures and its share in each of the contingent liability which have been incurred jointly with other joint venturers, यानी कि उसकी contingent liability जो है और उसका शेयर जो है वो उसको मेंशन करना ही होगा। इसके बाद उसको बताना होगा इट्स शेयर ऑफ द कंटिंजेंट लाइबिलिटी ऑफ द जॉइंट वेंचर्स देमसेल्व्स, जिसके लिए वो लाइबर है। मतलब पहले तो दूसरों का शेयर बताना होगा, फिर खुद का शेयर बताना होगा, और फिर दोज कंटिंजेंट लाइबिलिटीज दैट अराइज बिकॉज द वेंचरर इज कंटिंजेंटली लाइबल फॉर द लाइबिलिटीज ऑफ अदर वेंचर्स ऑफ अ जॉइंट वेंचर। तो ये तीनों थोड़े रट्टा मारने वाले से पॉइंट हो गए हैं, ये आपको एक और बार रीड करने होंगे ताकि आप अच्छे से उनको याद रख सकें। अ वेंचरर शुड डिस्क्लोज द एग्रीगेट अमाउंट ऑफ फॉलोइंग कमिटमेंट। तो पहला तो था कि उसको फॉलोइंग कंटिंजेंट लाइबिलिटी के बारे में बताना है, और दूसरा पॉइंट है कि फॉलोइंग कमिटमेंट के बारे में बताना है उसको। एनी कैपिटल कमिटमेंट of the venturer in relation to the interest in joint venture and its share in the capital commitment that have been incurred। सेम वही पॉइंट है जो पहले के, जो ऊपर वाले में जो दो ए और बी पॉइंट थे, वही पॉइंट यहाँ पे भी रिपीट हो रहे हैं। तो ये आप लोग ध्यान में रख सकते हैं कि इसमें जो ए और बी वाला जो पॉइंट है वो दोनों में कॉमन है। सिर्फ यहाँ पे कमिटमेंट लिखते हैं, कैपिटल कमिटमेंट, और ऊपर वाले में हमने लिखा है कंटिंजेंट लाइबिलिटीज। बाकी ये दोनों पॉइंट सेम ही है, सिर्फ इसमें से ये सी पॉइंट वाला था वो एक इसमें पॉइंट डिफरेंट था। ये दो कंटिंजेंट लाइबिलिटीज वाला जो पॉइंट है ये पॉइंट इसमें अलग है। बाकी फाइनल वर्डिंग देख लेते हैं इस आंसर की। अ वेंचरर शुड डिस्क्लोज अ लिस्ट ऑफ ऑल जॉइंट वेंचर्स, डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट भी बताना है, एक लिस्ट देनी है सारे जॉइंट वेंचर्स की, और डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट की इन सिग्निफिकेंट जॉइंट वेंचर्स। इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ जॉइंटली कंट्रोल्ड एंटिटीज द वेंचरर शुड ऑल्सो डिस्क्लोज द प्रपोर्शन ऑफ ओनरशिप इंटरेस्ट, उसका ओनरशिप इंटरेस्ट कितना है, नेम क्या है, और कंट्री ऑफ इनकॉर्पोरेशन और रेजिडेंस क्या है। अ वेंचरर शुड डिस्क्लोज इन इट्स सेपरेट फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट द एग्रीगेट अमाउंट ऑफ ईच ऑफ द एसेट, लाइबिलिटी, इनकम एंड एक्सपेंस, चारों चीजें बतानी है रिलेटेड टू द इंटरेस्ट इन जॉइंटली कंट्रोल्ड एंटिटीज।